Yo,
Yo, what's good, Liam?
I'm pissed off, man.
Why?
Because I've been wasting so much time today, bro.
Just make up for it.
Yeah.
Did you go to all hands in?
Yeah, but I missed it with like 30 minutes, so yeah. I missed a bit, but I'll rewatch it.
Got you. Got you. All right, we'll wait for some people to get in here and then I'll go through it. Hold
Alright, let's call this.
Good to see you all in here. I'm gonna wait until we get a few more people, and then we can start going through it. I don't know how many people are gonna make it to this call and put it out as much, but um, hopefully a few.
Hey David, do you know of anyone who's really good with Go high level automation setup?
Yeah, Christian John. I can actually get you in contact with them if you'd like.
Okay. All right.
Shoot me a DM and I'll put you in a group chat with them.
All right, thank you. Hey David,
What's up?
what's up, bro? How's it going?
It's going good. Busy day. And actually closed a client in the middle of Till's all hands in.
Yeah, I saw it. Awesome, bro. Good job.
Thank you.
How many cold calls do you a day, like in terms of volume?
Now I don't do any cold calls. I used to do I'd try and aim for like 100 a day when I was starting. It's a
Okay.
good way to build some confidence.
So you just like take demo calls or intro calls or?
Yeah.
All right.
And
Gotcha.
yeah, it's primarily that stuff. And then if I'm doing like any sort of coaching stuff, that also takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, I saw your post like you're coaching like 10 or 5.
Yeah, five people. Right now I'm with 3, but I'm just picky on who I want to take on because I want to make sure I can get them results and actually like have some credibility.
All right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Hope I can qualify for that like in some time.
Yeah, we can definitely talk. Shoot me a DM.
All right.
We can get a call going.
All right.
I think
Thanks.
yeah, for sure. I think we'll start. We'll start probably presenting at like 3:35. Just give anybody else some time to hop on, and then we can go through. I'll let you guys know now. Like we're gonna do the kind of first half of offer creation for about 40 minutes or so, and then we'll answer questions for the last 20 if you guys have like specific things that you're struggling with. Just because I know from the last call people had mentioned they'd like a little bit of a Q&A at the end for specific stuff. So yeah.
Hey David, you right, mate?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, I sent you a few DMs in Facebook before, and it's like I just started my RGDM to estate agents. I think I remember you talking to you about that. So I've been getting a few responses lately. Basically, all of them are like negative, but we're getting there because we're getting the responses back. Which is good. Yeah.
That is good. You wanna, with DMs, you wanna kind of show interest in what they do, and then from there you can kind of transition into seeing if they need help with that. But it takes some volume, and a lot of people will respond negatively.
Yeah,
business
that's
owners
good.
get a lot of lead gen offers. So
Oh yeah, cheers. David, do you mind if I could ask you a few questions DM later after the call?
yeah, feel free. Just shoot me some on Facebook. I'll get back to you. You can put any sort of specifics. We'll also have a Q&A at the end of this. So if we're
stuff.
Yeah, if we're able to get to you, then that would be ideal too.
Sounds good.
Hello?
Hey, how's it going, Victor? You made it.
Fucking David. I closed this guy and he was supposed to pay the invoice. Sent him the invoice. He said he has another meeting with 3 other agencies, and I've set on a boarding call on Monday, right?
Mhm.
But he didn't. He was just practically in a rush. Didn't want to pay on the call.
It's all good, man. It happens. It's no biggie.
Yeah, but how could you handle that objection, really?
We'll go over that. We'll go over that at the end, but we'll have a
Yeah,
Q&A
sorry.
at the end where we can go over like
Sorry
any
for interrupting.
specifics. But yeah, just remember, hold that thought, and we'll get to it. For sure. All right, we'll give it like 4 more minutes. All right. Y'all have any wins this past week? Any clients closed or appointments being set? I know Victor got close. Almost had that.
Finally got my first free truck line on board, so that was a win.
Hey, perfect, Tyler. That's good. That's always really a really good start, because now you're gonna build up that credibility, and I think the most important thing is you get some confidence from that. So, so that's good.
Yeah, yesterday I started cold calling like Kofi is my accountability partner. And so in the call, like he told me, are you going to like cold call in the soccer call? And I was, yeah, I'm going to, but I had no plan, like, but definitely it got me closer to handle some objections and fix my mindset part.
Yeah, no, that's super helpful. So
The adrenaline was rushing in. I was a little bit nervous, and I got hung up like for the most time.
don't stress when that stuff happens. I mean, you're gonna get more comfortable as you do it, and to be honest, it's cold calling is primarily helpful because it builds some confidence. So, all right, we're just about ready to get started going through this. So I don't know how many of you guys know William Burrow. We're kind of working together on a lot of projects right now. You know, he's an agency lab, and he's very talented. He's aiming to hit 100K a month in the next 3 to 4 months, hopefully. So that's the goal. And yeah, definitely a talented agency owner. So we're going to be splitting up kind of this presentation. The last one was more kind of led by me, but we'll split this up, and there are probably going to be 2 parts depending on how long this takes. Hey, Johannes. And we're gonna split it up. There'll also be a recording posted on YouTube, but there's not as many people in this one, so we can be a little more interactive. If you guys have questions, just drop it in the chat, and we'll kind of take some time to make sure we answer that. And hopefully this is helpful for you. So we'll go ahead and get right into it. What's up, Alex? All right, I'm going to be sharing my screen here. Sales psychology masterclass. All right, you guys all able to see that? Perfect. All right, and feel free to put questions, and if anything comes up, you can also just raise your hand, and we'll call on you. There's not as many people, so we can, as I said, be more interactive.
Hey David, is it possible to full screen?
Yeah, full screen.
Yeah, just to make it like a little larger. Sorry, I just wanted to get that out of my earlier.
Yeah. All right, is that a little better?
Just hit the green in the top left, the tab.
Yeah. All right, perfect. So this kind of masterclass is going more into specifics of offer creation. Last one was more into the kind of psychology behind sales, and how you can kind of learn from a prospect's mind, how you can create an offer that appeals to them. And this one we're going into more specifics on offer creation and what is an offer. I'll say offer is probably, other than understanding the psychology, one of the most important things for increasing the amount of closes you get. Obviously sales skill will be extremely helpful, and that's something you learn with practice and also with some theory and stuff. But if you have a good offer, you don't have to be particularly talented at closing when it comes down to it. The offer sells itself, because a person with zero sales skills could come up to you and say, I'll give you a Ferrari for $10,000, and you would take it. It's just a good offer. So hopefully that kind of gets the wheel spinning in your head. But we'll start with kind of explaining how an offer works. So when you have a service or a product or anything, your offer is the way you position it to sell it to someone. So your offer isn't your product in itself. It's the way you position it on call and how you sell it to them. And offers differ in strength. So some are better offers. They're the ones that sell themselves, and some are not quite as good. And then on those, you have to make up for that with more sales talent and the ability to appeal to them emotionally, verbal dexterity, etc. So one thing you have to keep in mind is that offers are also relative. So a really strong offer is only strong because compared to 99% of offers, it's better, right? So if someone's saying, I will bring you in $10,000 if you pay me $1,000. If someone says, I'll bring you in $20,000 if you pay me $1,000, the $20,000 offer is strong compared to the $10,000 offer, if that makes sense. So even if everybody else is offering something really good, if you offer something better, then you're going to, sell more. This is a stronger offer relative to the rest, right? But the thing you have to keep in mind is that because of the nature of offers and the fact that they're relative, if your offer is different and you position it separate, so it's no longer compared to all these other, general offers that other marketing agencies are giving, your offer suddenly doesn't have to be so, strong because it's different. So now they don't have anything they can really compare it to. It's its own solution. Does that kind of make sense so far? Just drop a 1 if that's kind of resonating. And if you need me to elaborate a bit more, I can. Okay, so obviously you can do 2 things. You can try and provide something more, so undercut price, provide more value for the same price against your competitors, or you can offer something different and not have any competition at that point. So that's why offer is so important, because one thing that I found, and I think a lot of people will find useful, is when you go to a business and you say, hey, I'm a marketing agency. For $1,000 a month, I will bring you 15 qualified leads. You know what they think? They think, I've gotten 30 of these pitches. 10 of them were scammers, and I don't have time to talk with you. But if you come to them and you're like, hey, this is completely made up term, I'm a growth partner. They think, oh, okay, this person is a growth partner. What is a growth partner? What do you do? Well, actually, I can actually elaborate on that on call. Essentially, what we do is we help you scale by bringing in more jobs and increasing the quality of them. Now, you see what I did there? I'm offering essentially the same thing, but it's positioned differently. So now this person gets on the call out of curiosity. They don't know what a growth partner is, and they're talking to me and they're trying to learn what I do and how I'm able to get them these crazy results. Now, when it comes down to it, I might be doing 99% the same thing as every other agency. Hopefully I do it better than them, but it's positioned differently, and so they're interested in it. Now, I don't know if that you guys have tried that, but I've seen a lot of, especially beginner agency owners, they pitch themselves in the exact same way everybody else beginning pitches themselves, and it's just it's a rookie mistake, because what happens is people just look at you as everyone else, and then you're stuck in the rat race. So being able to kind of position yourself with in a whole nother realm and as a completely different service, that'll give you the opportunity to sell much easier, get them on calls easier, all of that. Will, do you want to kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so kind of to touch on that, when you frame yourself as different, that is much easier to do than being better at being better. Because when you're being better at being better, that's the bottom. That's how cheap can I make it to the point where I'm barely making a profit, but people want to say yes to me. So if you're just, well, I can offer 40 leads and you only have to pay me $500 for a management fee. Like you're trying to win a losing battle. And that's not going to help anyone. But if you instead can come in, like David mentioned, the growth partner, that is a great thing to set yourself aside, because most people have a very negative connotation with marketing agency or agency in general. So if you come in and say, we're a growth partner, we're going to help you get more jobs, XYZ, we're going to do this, but we're also going to help you through like one-on-one consulting. And we're going to teach you how to close more deals, XYZ, and actually fix internal problems in their business. Now, instead of being a marketing agency, you're an authority figure that they look to increase their business. Does that make sense?
Yeah, drop a 1 if that's resonating.
So essentially what we're just trying to do is we're just trying to put ourselves in their mind as something different, but is good.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and
it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, and I'll add to that, just in real world application, I mean, through cold email and DMs, I'd say my reply rate has increased by over like 40%, or positive reply rate has increased by over 40% just from that little shift. And it's so easy. You don't have to say growth partner. You could say, I'm a landscaping scaling consultant. They're like, what the fuck is that? and then that's when you're like, well, actually, I'll kind of show you if that's all right with you on call, walk you through our entire process. They're like, oh yeah, I'm kind of curious. I love scaling, and sounds official. It doesn't exist. You're a marketing agency when it comes down to it, but you don't position yourself like that.
You could
So
even say
that
like growth firm, your growth specialist.
yeah, just any sort of term, just make sure it comes off official um and you just have to be able to back it with confidence. So that's a really key thing to keep in mind. Now getting a little more back on track. So the market controls the strength of your offer. As I mentioned with the different versus better, what other people are doing is what you're compared to. So if you're offering the same type of service, then you just have to offer it better than them, and that's more difficult. And as Will said, it's a race to the bottom. Offer is positioning, so growth partner as opposed to marketing agency. And now your offer has to resonate with their drive, goals, problems, and pains. Now we covered the sort of psychology of sales, which is that people are basically always trying to get out of pain. Money is an avenue for buying something that gets them out of a negative situation. So what you have to do with your offer is you have to appeal to their specific niche issues. So a lot of people will kind of, talk about, oh, you struggle with leads, and they get that a lot, but they're not don't really care about leads. They care about getting new jobs so they can bring in more money so they can get X result. So you have to dig a little deeper and then also isolate for your niche, what is the actual issue? Because some niches it might just be getting in enough leads. For other niches, they might have tons of people who want to work with them, but they're low quality and it's wasting their time on sales calls, etc. So appeal to their specific problem and then give them a solution to it. And if you position it as, I can solve this problem and I am this official growth partner, they're going to be like, this is new, this is something I've never heard, and this will solve my issue. Even though if you said, hey, I'm a marketing agency, I'll get you leads, you're solving the same exact problem just as well. It's positioned completely differently. So I hope that's making sense. So marketing agency gets you leads with Facebook. Growth partner helps your business scale exponentially through systems and
And
see
before
how
we move on, does anybody have like thoughts on that? Like, are there any takeaways that anybody's gotten that they want to share?
Yeah.
go for it.
So basically everyone does the same thing, but we just market ourselves differently.
Exactly. And have you experienced with I know some of you have been sending messages. Have you been positioning yourself as a marketing agency? Anybody? Or how do you position yourself? Just drop it in the chat. Like let's say you send DMs. What have you how have you positioned yourself? Oh, I'll do Facebook ads for you. Anastasia, stop doing that. Good. Yeah, partnership. It's always better to put yourself on their level. Partner with X location. Rewording things comes off less salesy. Yeah, so much better response rate. Liam, yeah, I remember our one-on-one. That was good. James, see, now that's something you can fix. It's early on, and that's why you keep learning and changing things. Yeah, Anastasia's got it right. You're partnering with them, so keep that in mind. That's always more effective. All right. Now this is, I just wrote one out for you, but another version of a weak versus a strong offer right here. And keep in mind, they're only weak or strong when contrasted. So this, I sell Facebook ads that gets you leads. If nobody had ever offered them that would be a pretty decent offer. They'd be like, oh wait, you can get me leads through like the social media platform? Huh, I've never thought about that. Like I'll give it a shot. But they've gotten a million of those offers. And a lot of them are from, 15-year-old kids who never run a Facebook ad before, and then they get bad results. And I'm not, everybody has to start somewhere, and you might have never run a Facebook ad before. Just make sure you don't position yourself as that. That's fine, but you have to make sure you're positioning yourself as an authority figure. Will, do you want to go on anything I said there?
Yeah. And I mean, this is why it's easier to be different because again, you can only have strong when there's inversely something that's weak. There is no strong without a weak. So if you go into like a blue ocean where you're completely different, they have nothing to judge you on. There is no base metric of, well, they can do this, this, and this, and you're only offering this. You're just creating an environment where you inherently have a strong offer. And that it will be something that people could want.
Exactly. And that's a good point. Now, one last thing I'll add is so a lot of people talk about an oversaturation problem in SMMA, right? I'm sure you've all heard of that. Oh, these niches are oversaturated. SMMA in general is oversaturated. Why would I be able to get any jobs? There's no such thing as oversaturation of a niche or an industry. There's oversaturation of an offer within that. So when you shift your offer and it's something that people aren't used to hearing, even if it's, other people might have used it, growth partner, like me and Will have used that. But it's so much less used that it comes across as new and innovative. So if you're struggling with the constant rejection and oversaturation problem, then think about shifting your mindset. It's not an issue with your industry, it's an issue with what you're presenting your industry. Yeah, and Victor's right, especially in SMMA, it's big retainers. People get pitched all the time because of just massive volumes of outreach. So that's all helpful. Now going into offers a little bit more. So there are two things you want to keep in mind. So they're successful when they create certainty, and it's positioned as a bridge from point A where they're currently at and they're unhappy at point B where they're trying to get. Your offer is going to be successful if you show that it'll actually get them to point B and that it's a proven method and that they can trust you. The other thing you have to keep in mind is that they're successful and they're unique and are perceived as different because people want to buy new innovative things. It's natural for humans to try and get ahead of each other. And that's why certain things blow up, like new ideas on Kickstarter. Like I remember back like when the fidget cube came out, that was huge. It was a new idea and like everybody wanted to get in on it because it's like, oh, this is so smart. Like it's like 8 things in one and it's such a cool, it's packaged, all those fidgets existed before. There were like little dials and spinning balls, but it was positioned as something new. And so everybody wanted to buy it. People had bought, a million fidgets in the past, but they bought that because, it's different. And you're instead of thinking, I've worked with 3 marketing agencies, you're like, I've worked with no growth partners before. This is something I need to test. So, yeah, as I said, niches and markets don't saturate, offers do. You have to keep in mind your product is not an offer, your service is not an offer, your guarantee is not an offer, your discount is not an offer, and a price is not an offer. They're all components within an offer. An offer is how you present all of these things. Okay. So, any questions on that? You want to drop that in the chat? If it's all making sense, just drop a 1.
I think Victor had a question.
Yeah, I have a
He
question.
was asking for an example of how do you position the product as a solution. Do you want to touch on that, on your opinion, then I'll touch on it with mine?
Yeah, so first off, I'll just dig deeper into their specific issue. So not everyone has the same exact issue, but on the demo call, I dig into it. And this is where offer becomes key because even though your product is the same 99% of the time, you're doing, you're not going to shift it up for every single client unless there's a really important thing you need to change. If they say, oh, I struggle with quality of leads, then when I present on my demo, I go hard on the fact that the leads I bring in are vetted. They've been called by a VA before they ever come to, the business owner, and that these people are people that can afford to buy it, need the service, and are in their area. So you focus, you get out of them on the first call what their issue is. And then even though you're giving them the same exact product that they would get. So let's say person A says, I'm not getting enough leads. I'm offering them the same exact service, but I'm saying, we will get you a high volume. There's going to be consistent, steady flow. You're going to be getting appointments booked left and right. person B is like, I get plenty of appointments. They're just never good enough, and I'm not able to actually follow through because I can't afford my service. They're out of my area. So then I go hard on the fact that these people are going to be quality. I'm giving the same thing to person A and person B, but I'm positioning it differently to solve their problem. Does that make sense, Victor? Yeah, we can do a role play on that at the end. I don't want to slow it down too much, but we can do a role play at the end. Will, do you want to give your positioning of that?
Yeah, I mean, so the whole point we have the intro call is to get information. And once we have information, we know specifically what their individualized problems are. And once we know that, like, let's say, for example, you know, you could go with equality, or they don't even get leads in the first place. Like, they don't have any kind of advertising, but they want to get to 10 additional jobs, 10 additional patients, whatever that is, their desired outcome. The entire time, I'm going to be telling them the reason we're doing ads is so we can get XYZ metric to be able to get them to those 10 clients or patients. And even further than that, you still want to find why they want those patients. Maybe it's to expand, open a new practice, open a new brick and mortar business, or maybe it's to go on vacation. So every point I'm tying it into the problem of them not getting those 10 additional clients, and how what we're doing is going to get them there, ultimately to that vacation or to that expansion or to that growth. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that was actually very good. Can you repeat the thing that how you position, like the way we structure our system?
So everything should go into tying in to what their desired outcome is, and ultimately like the real goal, like whatever they're wanting. Because some people just want a bigger house. Like that honestly may be the biggest thing that they're looking for. And that all comes with digging down deeper into their pain and peeling back those layers, which is why it's really important to have a very good intro call. Because a good intro call will create an easy sell. A bad intro call is going to create a very hard sell.
Exactly. An intro call is, you know, you're positioning yourself for success. You're gathering resources on the intro call, and then you're putting them into action on the demo, if that makes sense. So, all right, offer power. So this is just why having a really good offer is worth spending time on, as opposed to just focusing on other things like tonality or whatever. So having an amazing offer, or one that people haven't heard before, makes it super easy to sell. Like I mentioned before, someone says, I'll give you a Ferrari for $10,000. You take it because a Ferrari is worth like $1 million, right? So they don't have to do any form of convincing. They just have to have something that people need and want, and they're going to buy it. So that's the first thing. It kind of removes the need for you to have sales skills early on. So persuasion, the more potent your proposition, so the better your offer is, the less persuasion you need to get clients. I kind of touched on that already. And yeah, if you give a 10 out of 10 offer, and you cover all bases, they're not going to be asking questions because you've covered everything. So then that takes away the need for objection handling, anything like that, and you're able to just nobody needs to question a no-brainer offer, right? They know that they're getting a steal here and they're going to get awesome results, so you don't really have to sell them. And that's a trick that's super helpful. The best salesmen are selling something that's positioned in a really good light. And then the fact that it's exponential, just a slight improvement or a slight tweak can make your sales process 10 to 20% more likely to convert, just by shifting a little bit on what you're selling. Like in the end, there's sort of things like Jordan Belfort, like sell me this pen, like that's purely just based on skill and creating like a need for something that they don't really need. When you have a really good offer, you don't need those skills. And that's especially helpful early on when you haven't taken as many sales calls. You're maybe less comfortable on the phone. You're not as confident in your ability to convert stuff. When you focus on your offer beforehand, you're setting yourself up for success. Do you want to go off that, Will?
Yeah, so kind of to touch on, like making it easy, like going back to the Ferrari for $10,000. Somebody who literally was their net worth was negative $100,000, they would figure out a way to get 10K because that is such a good deal. And there's a lot of stuff about a price evasion. But if somebody truly sees the value in their product, even if they are not in a financial position to get it, if they truly think it is the thing that will fix their problem, they'll find a way to make it work. They'll find a way to make it work. So, you know, at the end of the day, the more power your offer has and the more value it has to them specifically, the more inclined they're going to be to go with you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions on that, or is that kind of clear to you? All right, good. We'll keep moving forward. I just want to make sure also, last time I kind of went a little quickly, and I think some people might have been a little bit confused on some of the terms and stuff. So feel free to stop me and I can clarify stuff. So here's what makes up an offer. So you have a promise. This is telling them that we're going to solve this issue, and you're kind of saying, you're at point A, you're not getting enough jobs. I promise to get you to point B where you're getting so many jobs that your calendar's overflowing. That's your promise. Your time frame is saying, I'll do this within 3 months. 3 months from now, 90 days from now, this will be happening. And what a timeline does is it makes it tangible for them. Once you're told, if someone says in the future you're going to be a millionaire, you're like, okay. If someone says in 90 days you're going to be a millionaire, you can almost taste it. You know what I mean? It becomes so much more tangible, and it's just right. It's just in front of you. You're dangling the carrot, like that kind of term, where they're like, oh, 90 days from now, like I'm getting started now, so that on July, August, September, October 8th, I will be making $10,000 a month. Right now I'm making $2,000 a month. In 3 months from now, I'm going to be making $10,000 a month. I need to get started now. Time frame creates that tangibility. Outline inspires confidence. So when you give them an outline of how your system works, and we have AI targeting that makes sure that only the prospects who would potentially want to buy and have shown interest in products like this before will be seeing your ads. Your ads will be personalized and they'll come across as human, so that they don't feel like they're just getting in contact with a robot. They're going to want to directly get in touch with you. And all this different stuff. We have automation, so it's hands off you. Outline makes them have confidence in the fact that it'll work. That you make them feel like they're logically like, this is effective. Difference why you aren't like other marketing agencies. Positioning yourself as a growth partner. It's as simple as that. Makes you be in your own realm, so you're not being compared to other people. Risk reversal. Make them feel safe. So a guarantee, just so they know that they're going to get some form of results. People are wary, especially since they've just met you, to go with you. But a risk reversal will make them feel like, okay, like I'm guaranteed a result from this. People like it when they have a surefire way of getting somewhere. If I follow these 10 steps, then I will get this result, because he's telling me if they don't get me this result, then get my money back. Risk reversal is helpful. Make sure you have, side note, make sure you have certain contingencies for risk reversal. They have to call their leads. They have to do X. They have to do Y. Because if you just give them a risk reversal and say, if we don't hit $10,000 a month for you, then you get your money back, but you don't have any sort of contingencies, they're just going to be lazy and slack off and make you do everything, because they're like, if they don't get me results, I get my money back, right? They have to have some skin in the game. So make them feel like you only work with their avatar. You don't help just anyone, they're special. So you might be reaching out to, every single roofer, but you're like, I need a roofer in blank area who is an expert at this type of roof installation. I don't know much about roofing. That's not my niche, but make it sound like your offer is perfect for them because you work with specifically just them. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to work with like a generalist. They want to work with a specialist because they think that's more likely to solve their problem, which is in most cases true. So you make them feel like you only work with their type of avatar, someone in their price range, someone in their location, and that does their service. They're going to be like, okay, I need to work with this dude. Cost to get offer, how much they spend, that's, you want to make it something, you want to position it in a way that it sounds inexpensive. So, most people I work with are we're doing a $4,000 a month retainer. I'll let you go on if you sign for 6 months, we can cut that down to $1,500 a month, reposition their baseline. Now 1,500 doesn't seem but like very much when they just heard 4,000 a month. And then these are examples of what it can look like. So time frame in 180 days, the promise, 20K in new monthly revenue, step-by-step process, the outline. This is just elaborating on these. Will, anything to add there?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I see is when people are creating an offer, a lot of times I hear this phrase, I think this is a good offer. And while to you maybe it does sound good, the market determines what a good offer is. Because you could have something that's amazing, but if the offer doesn't find it or if the market doesn't find it valuable, then it's not going to perform. So the best way to find something that would work is to actually just do market research, reach out to people in your market and ask them what they would want. Like if they could have a marketing system that could fix XYZ problem, what would they want? And then once you know that and you have the information of what the market actually wants in that moment, you're going to be able to create a killer offer based on the information that they gave you, not based on what you think is good. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good point. And I'm glad you touched on that. Is that helpful for you guys? Oh,
Definitely.
all right, see Alex. Hopefully that kind of helps elaborate a little bit for you and helps you understand that a little bit more. And guys, stay on till the end if you can. There's going to be we'll answer some specific questions for you guys. I know this is a little dense, but trust me, this will be really, really helpful going forward if you apply it. If you don't apply it, then it's useless. But all right. So propositions are presented in 3 forms, giving varying degrees of detail. So you've got the core message, which is, think about it. If you went through high school and you write an essay, you've got a thesis statement. This is your thesis basically, or your title, something like that. This is what you do. So 3 to 5 words. We bring in $20,000 of revenue added each month, or we make your client acquisition process simple and effective, something like that. An elongated version of your core message gives more key information. So we do this through AI targeting. We run digital marketing, and we have automations to make it hands-off. And then you can give more details. Like with our AI targeting, we're able to find the specific person that you need to work with and make sure that the ad they see is specially designed for them. You get a little bit more broken down as you go in depth. You want to have everything figured out, but the most important part is your core message. So make sure that you have that front and center on your offer. And when you're trying to bring in a new customer, proposition is how it's presented and what can you provide. And the question of what you should offer is answered by your target audience by comparing your proposition to your rivals. So if you look at it like this, they have an issue. They've got multiple people trying to solve it for them, and where your offer stands is how effective it is at solving this in comparison to these other things. So let's say there's let's say there's an illness that's new and it's really hard to fix. No solution, it might be in the case that there's just no solution that fully works, but one is 30% likely to fix the illness and the others are 10% likely to. The 30% likely one suddenly becomes a 10 out of 10 off. It's the best in the market. Nobody can compete with it. Now, what if you have another one where with that illness, they take care of symptoms. Now they're still solving your problem to a degree, but it's a different angle they're solving. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm trying to get in your head the difference between better versus repositioning. Still solving the same issue, but it's just positioned differently. Will, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, so we can go to the first part, like the free forms of your proposition. Like, so I work with dentists, and my short, sweet, to the point is literally patients on demand system. What do they want? Patients on demand, like TV. It's short, it's punchy. Then you go and you tell them how you're gonna do it via advertising. What's your follow-up process? You know, if you have a call center, if you have them call them. And then like any additional support materials like scripts for them calling, or maybe a sales course to help them, and then you further break those down into details. And then going off a little bit of like positioning and making an angle, just like an idea, like let's say everybody's offering TikTok ads, and you're just like, yeah, we'll run your TikTok ads, but you're like, we'll make you a local influencer on TikTok, but you just still run their ads. Completely different offer. Completely different. And to people who are like, let's say that you're a chiropractor and they want to be the top dog in their city, that would be something that they would be interested in. And now instead of you're just offering ads, you're just positioning it differently, but you're essentially doing the same thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and so now instead of let's say Victor, Johannes, and James are offering TikTok ads to this person, but Liam says, I'll make you a local influencer. They're gonna be like, oh, I've got 3 options here. Might consider one of them. But then this guy's offering me something I haven't heard before. Like, I mean, I might have 30 minutes to hear what he has to offer, and then Liam then gets the opportunity to get on the call. Liam positions it correctly, and Liam gets the client there, if that makes sense. So, yeah. So the way you showcase your product influences the perception of it, which in turn influences their trust in it. So you could have a killer offer, but you could break it down into the worst possible terms, and they might think it's shit. So let's say what you actually do is you run Facebook ads. But let's say you get half the cost per lead of anyone else in that industry. Crazy, and they're top quality leads too. If you position that as, hey, I'll run Facebook ads for you, I'm really good at it, you're still stuck with this 99%. And then this one person comes along and say, hey, I'll use digital marketing and automations to make your client acquisition process on demand. They're different. And even though they might have double the cost per lead that you have, they're the ones that are getting on the call, and they're the ones who your audience trusts in, because if they've been burned by lead gen agencies in the past, they're less likely to trust it, because your offer is different. Then it's just on you to build the trust. That they don't have any they don't have any sort of predetermined stereotypes about what you do. Your proposition should resonate with motives, objectives, issues, and discomforts. Same sort of things as above, but you just have to focus on what's their actual issue and what do they want. And if they want clients on demand, then focus on that. They don't care about how you get them. And let's say they want to be the #1 dentist in the city, make them an influencer. Influencers are well known, and they're becoming big because of that. So that's important to keep in mind. So here's an example of an offer that's less potent versus more potent. I offer leads. It's really simple. It's not a very good offer. They hear it a million times. More potent, I provide a ready-to-use lead generation and client closing framework pre-designed for you by experts and presented in a way you can directly implement it today. They're both offering Facebook ads with Go high-level automation, but this one sounds a hell of a lot better. And yeah, they're only weak and potent when contrasted with each other. Nothing's good or bad with a contrast. Thankfully, much of your competition is not doing that well with their offer. Now, let's say, and I've mentioned this already on call, but if nobody was offering Facebook ads, then saying or nobody was offering lead gen, then saying I offer you leads, Some people would love that, but they hear it too often. So contrast is key. You're not good unless your competition looks bad next to you. So now we're going into key aspects of propositions and high ticket client acquisition. So this is mostly for what we work in, with dentists, landscaping, installation, roofing. They're like $1,000 plus jobs. Make sure you solve a problem for them. So obviously they need to have. Everybody has issues in business. It's just a given. That's how business works. But you need to directly appeal to that issue so that they're conscious and aware of the fact that you have to make them be like, oh yeah, you're right. This is really the stem of my problem, and your solution will directly address that and fix it. So that's key. As I said, your niche isn't saturated. Offering ads for $1,000 a month is very saturated. They heard that pitch. They've seen that same demo deck a dozen times. That's another thing. Like, I've seen a lot of people using the same demo deck. I mean, I think it was designed, or was it designed by Joe Potion? It's definitely a good demo deck, but
I think it was Joel's.
Okay, it's Joel's.
Yeah, it was Joel's.
It's definitely a good demo deck, but switch up the images. They've seen that elephant in the room picture like 8 times already.
And the dollar sign on the guarantee.
Yeah, don't use the same framework, but switch that stuff up, okay? Trust me, it'll help. It's positioning yourself as separate from these people. These people are all copy and paste agencies. You're a growth partner, and you need to take on that identity going forward. And then, as we've already talked about, your product isn't a proposition. A service is not a proposition. A guarantee is not a proposition. These things are all part of your offer. Proposition and offer are the same thing. Should have just been continuous with the terms we use. But your product isn't an offer. Your service isn't an offer. A guarantee is not an offer. A discount's not an offer. A price is not an offer. There are components that go into it. And the offer is how you package and deliver them. You put a little bow on it and make it look pretty, and they're gonna buy it. And then, Will, you got anything to add there?
Yeah, I mean, I can even, like, again, going on the saturation, like, everybody's offering ads for 1K a month. Like, even if you were to say, like, we charge 2K a month, that's different. And then you can go in and explain all the metrics, CPA, CPL, and why they got burned when they spent $1,000, because $1,000 wasn't enough to actually get them any results.
Yeah, and $1,000, if you put yourself as like a 2K agency, they're gonna start viewing you through the lens of a high value agency. Yeah. Continue. I shouldn't have.
Like All-on-4. It's a dental procedure that costs around 50 grand, and typically, to get one patient in, it's about $2,500. So if I'm charging $1,000 in ad spend, yet I'm marketing for All-on-4, it's going to take me 2.5 months worth of ad spend to get them one person. And a lot of the times you think, well, by charging less ad spend, you're getting an easier sell. And while that may be true, you're shooting yourself in the foot on the back end, because you're not going to be able to get them great results.
And keep in mind, if you hold on to a client for 6 months versus closing 3 clients for 1 month, you're getting paid double with that one client. Retention matters as well. So, and
does that make sense though? Did that help?
Helped me.
Yes.
And yeah, looks like it was helping. Good. All right. So just here's how you want to build out your offer or proposition. So you want to have a promise which should align with the goal and desired situation of your market. That depends on your niche. Find what they need, find what they want, and then solve the issue, right? How long does it take to achieve the outcome and result? That's KPIs you kind of need to research a little bit and see yourself. That partially depends on how much ad spend you're putting in, how good your copy and creative are, how quickly your client's able to follow up with leads and stuff. Make it tangible. Give a clear step-by-step of how they're going to get to point B. Risk reversal. Basically make them feel protected and safe. Exclude lower value people, make them feel like this is an exclusive club they're joining by working with you because you only work with top tier dentists, and they're top tier dentists, so they should be working with you, right? That's what goes through their head. And how much it costs to claim the proposition and make it happen. You just have to make sure you're pitching your price in a way that that makes sense to them. Like, don't be like, oh, like give me like $3,000. Be like, I'm gonna put money towards software and BAs. The ads are gonna be very targeted, but they take a little while to warm up, and then obviously for the hour by hour, we get a service fee as well because we have the best of the best as far as a team goes. Make them feel like their money is actually going to something. So that's all useful. Will, anything to add there?
Yeah, I think there's two things, especially a lot of people get weird when it comes to price, and they also frame it a little bit wrong. Whenever you talk about price, never mention a cost. Cost is inherently bad. Cost means you're losing money.
Investment.
Yeah, so we're gonna call it an investment because it's gonna be something that brings them money. So just one simple word change is gonna change the entire frame of how they view it. But also, price sometimes does need a justification. So like, I do free offers, but then I have a setup fee, and my justification is I have a team, they have a family to feed, they have bills to pay, so none of the money's going to me, but I have to take care of them. And there's no pushback there. So it's just a little bit more in detail of what David was saying. But does that help? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's good having concrete examples so you can kind of apply that to yourself a little easier. That's really helpful, like actual offer that you use and way of positioning it. So yeah, we already went over the three forms. The kind of core of it, the elongated version, and then the pitch with the intricacies and the nuances, which is like the details. These are three mistakes that people commonly make, and then after this, we'll answer some questions and be able to help you guys out with anything directly. Don't copy other people, learn from them. So this applies to everything with ads. I know you guys, a lot of you were on Joel Kaplan's All Hands In call just like 45 minutes ago. He went over that specific roofing ad, which he's like, this is a 10 out of 10 ad. Now, if you tried to copy and paste that, it might work for a little while, but I can guarantee you that 6 months from now, that ad isn't going to work. But when you look at that ad, he builds trust. He makes himself relatable and come across as human. There's a really powerful hook, which is, is it possible to get a new roof for under $1,000? Like that's a crazy idea, and I'm so curious how that could possibly happen. All of these other offers I've gotten have been like 1,500 plus. So that ad is incredible. Learn from it and apply it. Don't copy and paste. Just gonna put that out there. Copy and pasting makes you automatically fighting against a saturated niche. So present it with confidence. So when you have your offer and when you tell them that you're a growth partners aren't the type of people who would just walk in and kind of stutter and shake when they're trying to pitch something to a dentist. They've worked with, you've worked with dozens of dentists, some significantly bigger than this guy. And you might not have, but you have to go in with this mindset, and make them feel like you've worked with, they're lucky to be working with you. You're giving them some of your time. You're very capable, very talented, and you've gotten awesome results in the past. You're not selling them, you're just offering them something incredible, and it's on them if they want to take it. So present with confidence. Lastly, don't leave questions. Objection handling is a talent you need to learn, but the best objection handling method is not getting objections. So make sure that when you pitch your offer, you cover everything start to finish. Try and make it as airtight as possible with nothing where they're like, but what about this? What about that? What about this? It can be difficult to do that sometimes, but you have to like learn that from continued demos, continued intros, and that's a skill that'll be really helpful. Will, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, so to touch on the first point, don't copy, learn instead. Wholeheartedly agree with that. Because when you copy, you take away the opportunity for you to grow as an entrepreneur, for you to learn new skills, because you're just looking for somebody else who's created a proven path to get a result. But the second the proven path stops working, you're not going to know where to walk. You're going to be lost, and you're not going to know how to get out of there. You're just setting yourself up for failure. It may look nice in the short term, but it's not going to look pretty in the long term. And presenting it with confidence, that is a huge thing. Confidence is really just you're instilling confidence in them. So if you're trying to present, you're talking like this, and like I guess it would work. Like we could try to get you those results. It seems a little exaggerated, but that's not going to happen. If you're like, I know we can get you X, Y, and Z. You have volume, you have the tonality, you have certainty. Do you see how that would create an inherently different message? You could be saying the same thing, but just based on my confidence, the volume of my voice, the certainty that I'm using, it's going to get a completely different result. And the final thing, again, to go with David, the best way to handle objections is not have them. But you are going to get them. There's no way to completely 100% prevent all objections from ever happening. But the best thing you can do is separate them and handle as many as you can before. So like, let's say you take a bunch of demo calls and you keep getting the same objection. That just means you're not addressing it before. So if, you're getting the past 5 demo calls, you got on the same objection, find a way to handle that before it comes up. And then it's going to go away. And then to kind of touch on it, like before you dive into the investment, you want to handle any objections before that. So like, I won't pitch somebody unless I've handled every single objection. That could be from, trust, X, Y, or Z. And then I know that when I pitch them, the only objection they're going to be able to give me is a price objection. And that's easy to solve because you can figure that out.
And
But
for a price objection, Will, do you want to just go over what if someone says, "Oh, but I only have $500 I can put into marketing this month. Why
it's like,
I can't afford it. Look, can we do it later?"
yeah, I mean, you could say like, I completely understand, but do you have anybody that would be willing to help you out? Like, parents, family, spouse? Like,
I mean,
because I know that I can get you these results. Like, I know I can get you this growth. So would you be able to gather some money so we can get you to a place where you're, going to be making X amount, and then you're again selling them on the outcome. I'm not asking them for money so I can get them 5 clients. I'm asking them for the money so I can on the idea of financial freedom.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I would also like when you're selling them on investing in something that's a guaranteed return. That's what you're trying to sell them on. People will buy a guaranteed return. So focus on that. And we have a part 2 coming up, but we wanted to leave some time for questions, specifics. There's not a ton of people in here, so you can kind of take your time and we can walk you through some things. So you guys got anything for us?
Yeah, David, I just got a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, cool. I was just hoping if you could go through like the sales call structure, like start off with small talk and then maybe just learn maybe a bit more about the business and go into the meeting. If you could just run me through that, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick overview, kind of looking into that. So the first few minutes, and I'll just kind of put these in the chat. You kind of talk a little bit, share. Don't just say, "Hey, how was your day? Good. How was your day? Oh, it was good as well." Okay, so let's get straight into it. You want to, when they ask you how your day went, "Oh, it was good. Actually, I talked with my mentor earlier. He runs an 8-figure agency, and I've been learning a lot from him recently. We're looking at how the market is going, forward, and how we can apply that for some of my clients. So that was really helpful, and we could potentially talk about some of that after this call if you find that stuff interesting. That instantly gives you some authority. It's like, oh wow, this guy was. I was like cooking lunch like 30 minutes ago. This guy was talking about with like a millionaire who is looking into like the future financial situation for clients. Like this guy knows what he's talking about. Position yourself well from the beginning. Give yourself authority first up, and secondly, don't give a boring response. If you're like, "Oh, my day was good," you're just another NPC to them. So that's for the first bit. And yeah, you guys can raise your hands and we'll go one by one if you have questions personally. Then from there, you want to. It depends on if it's like a intro or a demo. I'm assuming that you're saying a demo. So then you're gonna recap some of the pain points they've had. You need to remind them that, oh, you were struggling with this, right? And this and this and this have been an issue for you, right? Has anything changed since our last call? No. So you do want to switch something up because clearly the problem's not solving itself. Okay. And you're trying to get to here, correct? So you can help your wife who has cancer. Okay. And then and then you're getting that pain point and then you start poking at it. And then you walk them through the demo, you inspire confidence in your system, and then you bring it back to their pain point. If you don't go with this, your wife, hate to say it, and this is a very morbid example, but you see where I'm coming from, right? You're recapping, getting them in the mindset of, I'm in a bad situation, so is my wife. And then you show them a powerful system that's proven. You inspire confidence in your tone, and you show them, social proof. And social proof doesn't have to be niche specific. Social proof could be you're in Agency Accelerator and these guys have gotten this result and you work with this person. You know what I mean? You inspire confidence in the solution. You bring it back to the pain point. You offer a bridge. They have to pay for the bridge. And so rapport builds authority. It builds both connection, but it builds trust and you come across as a real person. I like to do what I just mentioned to build authority. It's rapport is primarily to build trust and a connection, but if you can position yourself as a very serious character, it's a little secondary benefit. Primarily focus on just getting to know them and making them view you as a human being and not a salesman. But what I just told you does both of those things. I was on a call with this person. You could name a name. Even if they don't know Joel Kaplan's a real person, like they don't know who Joel Kaplan is, you're like, yeah, I was talking with Joel Kaplan. He actually runs, a 7-figure a month agency, and he coaches a lot of people who do this kind of work. And we were going over this topic. They're going to be like, oh, this guy knows exactly what he's talking about. He has authority as well as he's like a real person that has a life outside of sales, right? Hopefully that was helpful. And we're gonna obviously, like as you guys know, we're doing weekly calls, and so we're just at the foundation of sales. We're gonna get to sales structure soon, and in the next week or two. But hopefully that's helpful. James,
I do have.
I was
gonna touch on that.
Yeah,
I actually have a differing perspective from David. Me and David actually have extremely different sales styles. I'm more on the end where I say fuck rapport building. The most I'll ask them is how's your day, and then I get straight into it, and that also works well for me. But you have to take in mind like your sales voice and your personality. I'm not like David on the energetic, bubbly people person. So when he talks to somebody about their day, it comes across as sincere. When I do it, it just looks like I'm a salesman who is trying to pretend to care about their day so I can get them to pay me. So just keep in mind that there is no one right way of selling. It's just what connects with your voice and your personality. And if you find something that does that, it's going to amplify your sales skills by 10x.
Yeah, and I'd say Will is a really good point in the fact that that's probably the single best tip I can give you is make sure you're genuine. If you're like an introverted, quiet person, don't try and talk fast and be pressure. Be a little more laid back, ask more questions, suit your style. Say the way you talk with your friends is how you should be talking with on a sales call to a degree. Obviously, slightly more. But
oh, I'm not muted.
All right. Anyways, James, go ahead.
Hi there, you right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Brilliant. No, I was actually just about to say like something along those lines. So like I said, I've just been started doing the IGDMs. I've been sending my voice messages straight after, like saying how hi, this looks good, really like this and that photo, whatever. And I was wondering because when you was talking about the way that you like place your your property as if you like the way that you're selling it to a person, I was kind of like going in and like trying to hide my offer in a way just to kind of get them to lean in and poke it with a stick. But I don't think that's kind of working. Do you reckon it'd be better if I were to just fully just go in there and be like, this is what I'm doing, bang, this, that, and kind of like hint it and kind of like I say, poke it with a stick in a way to get them to reply to it? Because I think the problem that I had was that because I was saying it like, oh yeah, I do this, and just hoping that they say, oh yeah, what is it? Would it be better for me to kind of like get them to be so interested that they do respond? Like, what's your thoughts and opinions on that?
Yeah. So, and me and Will can kind of share about this. We actually talked with Marquez recently, who's really talented at DMs. But the kind of, and I shared this with DMs as well. The way you want to approach DMs is, like a few posts, and comment, hey, I sent you a message. I think landed request. Love this arm workout. Let's say it's for a gym. I'm gonna love this arm workout. I sent you a DM with a question. I think it may have landed in request. In request, hey, just wanted to let you know this arm workout is sick. My biceps need some work, so I'm definitely trying this today. By the way, are you guys taking on new members this month? Like, is that something like you're doing? You're not saying do you need leads. You're saying are you taking on new members? Are you taking on new jobs? Are you taking on new clients? You're positioning yourself in a position where, yeah, and Victor's right. Like, comment, get your foot in the door. You're positioning yourself as a potential customer at this point, and you're friendly. They're not gonna, dismiss you. So if they see the DM, they're likely to respond. Hey, thank you. I hope you give the arm workout works great for you. And yeah, we actually are taking on new people. Are you interested? And then you reply, yeah, the arm workout was great. I'm super sore from it. It was sick. And yeah, no, I'm definitely like interested. I love working out. I'm big into powerlifting personally. And I actually work with companies, with gyms to bring in new clients. So, is that something that you could potentially use some help with, or would you be able to handle some more volume? Yeah. And you've got this kind of rapport going with them where you guys are relating well to each other. You're taking a genuine interest in them. You're coming across as a real person. Then they're like, actually, like, we do need some new clients this month. We've been trying stuff and it hasn't been working. Oh yeah, no, I understand it can be difficult as a gym to do X, Y, and Z. And actually I've dealt with those problems quite a few times in the past few months. It's been pretty common. I'd be happy to share with you exactly how I've gotten these results for people in the same position as you actually. Would you want to set up a time to chat? And then from there, you just, intro demo. That's just an example of it. Obviously, not every conversation goes that well, but your odds of having a conversation like that go way up if you show interest in them. You first get them to acknowledge that they are taking in clients and that they need new clients, and then you offer your service. You need them saying, hey, like, actually, yeah, I do need this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure, I get that. But the only like problem that I had is, when you said to just kind of just ask them, hey, do you have any like space for this? When I have done that every single time they've just completely blanked me. And because I think they're kind of trained, these people that run the accounts, I thought it may be a better idea just to send a video, like explaining that I'm a real person, and then I don't want to hide behind the camera. Like, do you reckon that could potentially be good? Just a trial, yeah?
Yeah, I've sent videos before, and they're generally more effective. They're also pretty quick. Since everything you do is personalized, with DMs anyways, just send the video and it's more personal. Use the same tactic of 90% talking about them and being complimenting them, and then like there's that little last 10% where you're like, by the way. So it's like a normal conversation, but there's a little bit of business mixed in there.
Sure, brilliant. Cheers, David.
Yeah, of course. All right, Victor, go for it.
Yeah, so actually I want to review some of the scenes from the demo call I have recently, if you guys are open to.
Yeah, more than happy to. I think.
If, my partner isn't here. I guess, yeah, my objection, wait a minute. He'll share the whole recording because he was recording the whole call. And put it like from the last quarter. Before the bonuses. And one slide prior. Right, I want, yeah, that's good. Thomas, no,
There's no
share
audio.
screen, press share
There is
sound,
not.
yeah.
When you share screen, there should be an option that says share sound as well.
Because profit comes with commitment and great results come with a great system, but a great system takes time. Now, let me break down 3 terms, which is lifetime value, cost per acquisition, and ROI. Pretty sure you're familiar with those numbers, those terms. We'll discuss it a lot. So, what is the main advantage of the system? Remember how I told you that we want to remove the guesswork, the luck, all these things that create inconsistency in your client acquisition side of the business, right? So by having a system in place and which books meetings, which lets you call the lead, which shows you how many leads you get this month, you have clear numbers. Clear numbers result in ultimately predictability, right? You know how many leads you'll get this month, what is your cost per lead, what is your conversion rate, how many people do you close on these calls, how do you close them, how many people buy additional things, right? When they show up in person, do they want a maintenance package? Do they want to do maintenance regularly? Are they, I don't know, I had, you know, sometimes people do PPF and ask for a ceramic coating after the PPF installation. So that just increases the lifetime value of the client. And you get a clear ROI on investment. Is the campaign profitable? You have the numbers. And if the campaign is not profitable, you have the numbers too. In this case, we run obviously a troubleshoot SOP to make the campaigns profitable and make sure at least in the worst case you break even. So we track all those numbers for you, and you get bi-weekly reports on our check-in calls. Basically, after going live, we do a call once every 2 weeks, just so we make sure we're on board. There are no problems, just so you like the lead quality and all of that.
Pause it.
Make sense?
Mhm.
Pause.
One thing I noticed is not once have I heard it tie back into his problems. You're just selling him what you do, but you're not really establishing yourself as a way to get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
You're telling him what your thing does, but like when you buy like a vacation, like you go to, let's say, you know, the Caribbean and you go on a plane, you're not buying the Boeing, you're buying the beach in the Caribbean, you know. So does that analogy help you? Do you see how instead of selling your system, you want to be selling him on what his goal is? You want to be selling him on getting to his desired outcome.
Yeah.
Basically, I should. Sorry, David.
Yeah, I'll just go off of that. You're coming across confident in what your system does, which is good. But as Will said, you know, this guy Saul Hernandez, like he doesn't care about CPL, ROI, etc. Like he cares about is he gonna get the jobs he needs to pay his bills, and is he going to be getting a good return on his investment? So while yes, you need to have that same confidence in your system, but just at the end of each thing, what is your CPL? And you mentioned after you go through your CPL explanation, and you mentioned that you were struggling with, you know, getting, you're having to spend almost half what you're getting paid for your job to acquire a lead. This will cut that down to by $300. You know, I don't know the exact numbers, but
remember how you told me you struggle to book more meetings. You want to get to those 3 to 5 coatings a week. This is how you do it. This is how basically.
Yeah,
you get
and
a clear ROI.
like CPL, your clients, they really, that does not matter to them. They're never gonna understand it. Like at the end of the day, they don't care about how many leads, they don't care about how many appointments booked, they only care about the amount of people that actually pay them and work with them. Because like when I first started in dental, I wasn't the best with my fulfillment, and I was able to get somebody off of $200 in ad spend, almost 100 leads, but pretty much none of them converted, so it didn't mean shit. So I was performing a lot better in media buying metrics. The one metric that they care about wasn't getting hit on, So like when I go through a sales call, I don't mention CPA, I don't mention CPL, I don't mention any of that. I'm just tying everything into how we're going to be getting these patients, which is going to, how the system is going to solve X problem, how it's going to get you to X goal, and ultimately the continued growth is going to get you X, Y, or Z. Like the entire time, I'm not telling them the specifics of my system. I'm telling them how my system solves their problems to get them to their goal. Does that help?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Do we want to keep going through this, or we can watch a little bit further? But I'm guessing that it's probably a similar. You can tell us, Victor. Did you like kind of have that same issue going forward, or what was his objection to buying?
Yeah, it's actually two questions. First, yeah, one of them is the objection, but the second one, I find a hard time like pitching, and like when I get to the pricing, I just sometimes go through the pricing thing, like the pricing
Yeah,
thing.
go ahead and skip to that.
Yeah, let's start with the money back guarantee too, because I'm pretty sure I messed this up too. Thanks. Testimonials are, especially in detailing. You get a lot of referrals, obviously, from the testimonials. And we have a money back guarantee, which means that if we don't deliver the first month working with us, we work the next month absolutely free of charge. You see how my voice starts trembling? So when I get to the pricing, I become confident until pricing comes up, right? And for some reason,
the way you have to then like handle that, one is you have to, it's just confidence in your service. I know that you've mentioned, I've seen you on calls before, and you've mentioned like, I'm not super confident, so there's a certain mental block in your head of part of you doesn't want this person to pay you, because part of you doesn't want to take on the responsibility of having to get the results for them and take on the fear of potentially failing and having this person be like, I trusted you and you lost me like $1,000 in ads, even with the guarantee. So you have that mental block in your head. And there are a few things you need to do. First off, you have to keep in mind, not every client you help, you're going to get results for. That's the unfortunate truth. They're taking a gamble and they're aware of that. The next thing is you have a full team, the entire agency lab team that's able to help you with getting results. We've got Joel's calls coming up. You can continue. Yeah, and you can continue working on your service delivery. The last thing that I would say would be helpful, start pitching like being like, we generally work at $4,000 per client, but with you, if we sign on today, I'll cut that down to X amount, $1,200 per month. You're giving them a pretty damn good deal there, especially if you're able to get them the return. So focus on building your confidence. Shift your mindset from it's just me trying to get them results to it's agency lab trying to get them results. People that have generated probably at this point hundreds of millions of dollars for businesses. And then lastly, reposition your pricing. So frame it as worth up here, and he's getting it for down here.
Right. Can you guys review how I break down pricing?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, everything makes sense so far.
All right. So moving forward to the pricing, now we talk numbers. We have two calls with us. So first is the ad spend, right? This is the money that goes to Facebook.
Very, very important thing. But as I mentioned before I pitch them, I handle every objection that would be outside of a price objection. So before I go into pitching them, I stop sharing my screen, and I'm like, before we dive into the financial investment, Like,
Mhm.
do you see this system being the thing to help you get to your goals? And then if they're like, or you don't really get a clear answer, then you could be like on a scale of 1 to 10, like 1 being the system is not going to help me in the slightest, and 10 being the system I need to get there. You get an exact number, and like I wouldn't pitch anybody below an 8 on that scale because there's something wrong. There's not alignment. They don't trust you somewhere. Something doesn't make sense. So then you need to go there and you'd be like, well, what questions do you have about this? Why is it not a 10? What would take it to a 10? You need to go back. You need to discover, do more discovery,
Mhm.
and get that number up higher. Because if you have them at a 10 out of 10, then when you pitch them, really the only thing that they're going to be able to object on is your price.
Right.
Does that help?
A lot. A lot. Yeah, that was the thing that I wasn't doing.
Yeah, and I think that Will has a really good point in that they need to be fully sold on your service before they'll even consider investing in it, right? So,
Mhm.
this guy wasn't sold, and you can't say someone's sold on your service until they're you want them at a 10 out of 10. You want to get them to a 10 out of 10 before price comes into the equation. Because then once they're like, so you see how this, and this will all get you these results. And if you can get a guarantee of a return on your investment, would you be ready to move forward? Yeah. Okay. So here's the investment. It's a $299 setup fee to get started, a minimum of $25 a day ad spend, and so per month. And we're cutting that down for you from our average price. You basically want to, once you've gotten them fully on board and fully bought into your service and your product, and every other objection is handled, then you pitch them.
Then
And
I
then
pitch
it's
the
just
price.
about
Okay.
it's about reminding them of the value and then reframing the price in their head. How, you know what I mean?
So just to point out that you say before pitching, like right before pitching, if you get an ROI or if you get an ROI on it, are you ready to move forward?
Yeah, you
Or
say
to
so. So with everything we've covered, if we could guarantee you a return on your investment and that we would get you results, would you be ready to move forward? They're like, yeah.
We could
Then that's
guarantee
when
a
you can
return
pitch
on
price.
investment. Okay. That's a very good one. Return on investment. Yeah, perspective.
All right, are you good, Victor?
Is there any other questions we can answer?
Yeah, the objection. Move a little bit, because right before the payment, it's like the invoice arrived in his email. I send the invoice, then he tells me that he has free hour calls with 3 different marketing agencies.
Then remember offer creation, the core of this call. You're not a marketing agency.
Oh, so I told him that I'm not a marketing agent. I position myself as the growth partner.
Yeah, he's got 3 other calls with marketing agencies. Okay, you're a growth partner. You'll handle everything a marketing agency does plus more.
Plus more. Okay, that makes sense. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was all.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Johannes, and then we'll get to Anastasia, and then if anyone else has anything, we'll go to that, and then we'll call it a day. But Johannes, go ahead.
All right. So I got a question regarding how I present my offer in IG DMs, specific to like how I respond to one message. So I asked him, awesome, are you capable of taking on 10 to 15 new clients for your personal training per month? And they answered, possibly. Are all of these people a part of a team or group?
Wait, say that.
Is that the first message you're sending?
No, that's the second.
Okay, what's the first message?
What type of services do you provide?
You could maybe change that. Is this for what niche?
Gym.
Yeah,
Gym. Okay. So you could do something a little bit similar, like asking just like, are they taking on like more personal training clients? Are they accepting new gym members?
Yeah.
And then you switch and they're like, yeah, like, are you looking to get started? And then you want it to be like a smooth transition. You want it to kind of look like a miscommunication. Like, oh, well, actually, we help gyms or personal trainers get an additional, 10 members every single month. Is that something you'd be interested in? Or like, we actually help gyms or personal trainers get more clients or members every month. Is that something that you'd be interested in? And then the whole thing with like DMs, cold email, all of the outreach that isn't cold call, your one objective is to get them on the phone.
But
Because
could
go ahead.
could I also say like, now I'm actually looking for a growth partner like in their area, and then present my offer like in the way.
You could say I would pitch it as the result you can get them.
Okay.
And then when they're like, yeah, I'm interested, once you get them on the phone, then you pitch yourself as a growth partner. If they ask
Alright.
if they ask you specifically, are you a marketing agency? You're like, actually, no, I'm a growth partner. So the difference is I do this, this, and this. Marketing agencies just run Facebook ads. But you want to focus on giving them a really good, an offer that they could get them to acknowledge they're taking on new members, get them to be like, yeah, we could use that, and then get them on the phone, and then that's where the growth partner thing comes in. Also, try and build a little rapport with them if it's on Instagram.
All right. Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. Anastasia, go for it.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Just had a call with my mentor. No, I'm kidding. Go for it.
So, actually, my question is more for William, because the niche is more similar.
Mhm.
So, for dentists, I work with chiropractors. I think everybody knows them already, but for chiropractors, they ask me like, they are expecting sometimes that they will get only good leads. Like each lead will be booked lead, but it doesn't work like this.
Yeah.
And when they can, like for whatever the reason, I try to gatekeep it as much as possible, but for whatever the reason, people don't show up.
Mhm.
They become pissed off. Like, I lost my time. I wasted my time, whatever. And I understand that they are doctors and they have like time slots. But also, at the same moment, I also understand that they would be sitting in their office and doing the paperwork that might not be that urgent.
Yeah. So
within this appointment or instead of that appointment. And I just don't know like how to handle this sometimes and how to explain them that I can't just bring people from their houses, even if they signed up for the appointment. Like I can't just hold up and put them to the clinic right away.
Yeah. So
with dentists, it's a little bit easier, maybe just because people can cover everything with the insurance or credit card or whatever. Like they know that it's going to be expensive, but for chiropractors, they might not know that it's expensive.
So what's like the initial offer to get them in? Is it like a $21 exam and adjustment?
No, it's half price of the appointment. So I'm located in Canada. I do. One of my hires, he is doing like $215 for the initial assessment, but we priced it down to 107.
Take that for the deposit. Just be like you have to pay the 107 to get this.
And from here, this is something that I can't handle myself, and that's my problem. Mm-hmm. Probably when I call back leads, because I do it myself, I call them back and I tell them like, "Hi, I'm calling you in regards to that Facebook voucher that you submitted right now. So I just wanted to confirm the appointment with you and schedule you in, blah blah blah." And at the end, when they tell me the time, tell me everything, I tell them, but also we need to collect your credit card for security purposes, because we need to secure your spot as well as our time at the clinic, and the spots are limited, so we would like to hold your voucher. We'll not charge you or run your card before you will get the assessment. It's just for the confirmation that you will show up for the appointment. Okay. And they told me like, okay, so then I don't want this offer. And they either drop off or they, I don't know,
Yeah.
I tell them, why don't you want to proceed with this? Or I try to ask them questions. But honestly, in most cases, I just give up because I kind of understand why people don't want to give me their credit card information over the phone. But also, I'm putting myself in this situation that I will not deliver the result then. But also, I understand that these people might not be qualified then, and they didn't consider to show up at this moment already.
So to go, like you could do a couple things. You could talk to the chiropractor, like how many leads are you getting per month?
This is my first month with 2 chiropractors. So
Okay.
so far I got. Let me just load up.
Okay. Because what you could do is you could just start a raffle. You could be like, if you pay
I
the
run.
setup fee and you show up to your appointment, you'll be entered into a raffle where you could win $250 just for showing up to your appointment. So then they're like, well, I could pay this, and if I don't want to go through with it, then I get my money back, but I still have a chance to get an additional $250.
Also, another thing off that, you can. I know you mentioned. I think Will mentioned you can get the payment before they come in.
That's what she was struggling with.
You get card details, and so you won't be charged until after the appointment. But just having and then having the thing that if they don't show up, it's a $20 fee for not coming, something like that.
But still, to get this $20-$30, I need to get their information so they will know that they will be charged.
But
yeah, the key here is not even that they will be charged, but their card information. And my hire, he just texted me today, but people can always do the chargeback. And not all people know that they can do the chargeback, but still, it's not going to build the trust if I will tell people, okay, go to the bank and do the chargeback if you're going to be charged.
It's also on the way you ask for their card. Like when I ask for their card, I just say, do you have your card handy, or do you want me to wait while you go get it? I'm assuming that they're gonna pay. I'm not taking like, hey, can you give me your card details? I'm like, do you have it on you, or do I need to wait a second for you to grab it?
Okay, I have to try that.
And I mean, when people don't pay, it's because they don't inherently see the value in what you're offering. So,
But why they did sign up for the offer?
Because they don't see the offer being worth $107. And again, it's the same thing with the Ferrari. If somebody offered a Ferrari for $10,000, you'll find a way to make it work because they see the value in it. But if they don't see the value to spend $100, they're not going to spend $100. And it's how can you make it more valuable? So you could do the $250 raffle, or you could do if you show up to your appointment, you'll get a $25 Amazon gift card. Or you could be like, if you show up to this appointment, you'll get 1 adjustment for free.
1 adjustment for free is good.
Yeah, you got to give them a reason. So when they spend that $107, well, now I'm getting
because
something
my
extra.
hire, he will not gonna do the raffle, or he will not gonna do the Amazon card for sure, but he will do the free assessment for his massage service.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be huge. It's just there's the whole rule of reciprocity. When you do something for somebody, it makes them want to do something for you. So you're like, hey, we'll even throw in something special. We'll give you an adjustment for free if you take care of that.
Yeah, okay. And next thing, I got 21 leads in 10 days.
Okay.
For my chiropractor. But from these 21, 8 people booked an appointment.
Okay. How many showed?
Nobody yet.
Nobody showed.
Okay. One lady, she will show up because she knows him personally, but this is not my job, kind of.
Okay, yeah. So it's just how do we get them to show up? And I mean, I wouldn't budge. I wouldn't let people book an appointment if they're not gonna pay the deposit. That is a non-negotiable for me. because
But the thing that I'm doing is they can go straight after the Facebook form and book an appointment, like their time slot. And then it says
on
like we will give you a call back to confirm your appointment and so on and so forth. And some people who submit this time slot, they just don't pick up the phone
do you call
and
them
don't
within
reply
5
to the
minutes?
messages. Yeah.
You call them within 5 minutes of them coming through?
Yeah, sometimes. But I mean, sometimes for this week it got delayed because it was the first week when I was doing that. I didn't have a call center before. But I usually try to call them back like in the first 5 minutes or even 2 to 3 minutes. Yesterday I even called to one guy and he said like, "Don't call me again. Like, please don't call me again." And I was like, okay.
That's gonna happen. Like, you have to remember that no is the expected answer. Like when we're running ads, like we're looking for the needle on the haystack, that one person who's gonna say yes. And on the B2C side, you can get a lot more yeses, but you're gonna face a lot of no's.
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready for now. It's fine. But yesterday it was just, I was like, maybe I'm doing something wrong at all.
Yeah, you're also not spending a ton of I don't think you have a huge ad spend from what I saw when I looked at your stuff. So you're like working in this common predicament which a lot of early marketing agencies have, or a lot of early growth partners have, which is that you're asking for less money because you're less confident, but because you're asking for less money, you get less results because you're not spending as much on ads, which makes you less confident in your service because you're not getting results. So that's a pretty common thing. Like if your ad spend was double what it is right now, you would not be having nearly as many of these same issues. Also, I'm gonna shift host to William. I have a call I need to get to. I'm 5 minutes late for, but William can answer the last few questions. I mean, he's, I'm sure you guys can tell he knows exactly what he's talking about. So
thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and William, so David said that the ad spend is not like good enough. The ad spend right now is 900. From your personal experience, like how many patients you got for your dentist?
So I mean, looking at it, dental, when I'll go off the metric that is closest to you. I took $1,000 ad spend, and my typical CPA is around like $20, maybe a little lower. But looking at $1,000 of ad spend over the course of a month, that would be able to get them around 50 leads.
So 50 or 15?
50. And out of
so then it means that it's not all lost with 900, right?
Yeah, it's not all lost. Like you can still convert them. Like
could there be a problem that it's not the high quality leads on Facebook itself, and I just need to switch to other platform?
I mean, I wouldn't say you have to switch because chiropractics and Facebook is proven, but it could be something that maybe your offer isn't as appealing, maybe your creatives aren't as good, maybe your copy isn't as good, maybe it's not hitting the target population that you want to be hitting. But the thing is, it's been 10 days off of $900 in ad spend, you have 21 leads. That's not bad. That's not bad. If you can convert even like if you can get an appointment book rate, which right now yours is almost 50%, it's around like 45, and then from that 45%, if you can take about 20% of those and book an appointment, looking at scale, you're going to have about 60 leads by the end of the month. That 40 to 45%, which will put you around like 25 leads, take about 20% of those and book them in. That's 5 patients. Would they ROI?
Sorry?
Would they ROI with 5 patients?
Oh, we negotiated for 9.
9. Okay. So we got to figure out how to get that rate up higher. How many times do you follow up with them? How many, after you call them within 5 minutes, do you follow up with them the next day?
Not next day, 24 hours before the appointment, and the day of the appointment morning.
I would start following up with them every day for a week.
But I follow them up with SMS and emails. I don't know. Yeah. Will it make them angry or not?
No. some people may tell you to screw off, but I mean, if they're gonna tell you to screw off and they're gonna act like that, they're probably not gonna pay you in the first place. So what the thing is, you have to getting them on the phone, especially since you're taking deposits, that is going to be the most vital thing, because very few people will take a link from a text message and then just put their card numbers in. Like, getting them on the phone is going to be the most valuable thing for you. And
How do you collect the payment information? Because I was going to send my Hyros link to collect the credit card information.
I set up a Stripe account for my clients, and then I create a pay funnel for them on Go High Level.
I see.
So I just take the cards, and if they're not comfortable, telling me their card numbers, I'm like, okay, I'll send you the link, and you can go ahead and take care of the payment right now. But the thing is, you're getting leads and you're getting appointments booked to speak with you, and you're getting people on the phone. So you're trying to solve a problem of how do I get more leads? How do I get higher quality leads? But the only problem you have to solve is how can I get them to pay the deposit?
And to get them on to make them pick up the phone.
Yeah, to make them just follow up more. Just follow up. And leave messages. Like if you follow up with them.
Voicemails, I leave voicemails.
Yeah. And
I don't know, maybe it's just because the first like some data I don't know.
Yeah. I mean just follow up more. And maybe the first 10 days you didn't follow up well, but you have 20 more days to get that sorted. So don't look at it at what you haven't done, look at what you can do. You now know that you can try something different to increase your output.
I see.
Does that help? Is there any other questions that I can answer?
No, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. And feel free to add me on Facebook if you have any extra.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
That goes for anybody here. James, what's up?
Hi, Will. When it comes to like you sending IGDMs, what's your like average rate in terms of like how interested they are, whether or not they respond, or like how many you actually genuinely get on the phone? I'm interested in trying to figure out what I should be looking for. I know it's all different, but I just want to roughly know.
From my experience, DMs and dental is full, like not worth my time. But I mean, like typically, based on like Marquez's numbers, you probably want to be sending like I don't know, do you have VAs or do you do it yourself?
I'll do it all by myself.
Okay, so I probably recommend getting a VA because it takes a lot of time and you can get them to send 200 DMs on their own. But you should send around like at least 100. You should shoot for 200 DMs a day. You want to look for like a 3 to 5% book rate and reply rate. It's all niche dependent, so I can't give you the exact metrics. I would talk to Marquez,
sure,
because that is his specialty. But I mean, typically if you have a good offer and it's what the market wants, you're gonna get positive responses.
Sure.
So, and again, I'm not exactly the expert in this field, so I wouldn't feel like morally right if I tried to give you the gold standard advice.
Yeah, exactly. All right. No worries, Will. Cheers, mate.
Yeah. But if you need help with like offer creation, cold email sales, other stuff like that's more of my area of expertise.
Cheers, Will.
Yeah. And I can connect you with Marquez if you need that.
If you don't mind, that would be brilliant. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, cool. I'll do that.
Cheers, Will.
Yeah. What's up, David?
Hey, so I just had a quick question on cold calling and setting the appointments, because I've been having a lot of trouble getting people to just book an appointment. I did get one to book an appointment, but I think the way that I'm structuring my script and the way that I go about it is making them not want to book an appointment. So like at first when they pick up the phone, I say, hey, let's say if it's John, and they say, hey, it's John, because it's a real estate agent, so they just say their name. So it's, hey, this is John. I'm like, hey, John, it's David from Value Flow. based in New Jersey. I'm gonna be honest, this is a cold call, so you can either just give me 30 seconds or hang up now, and then they either laugh, they let me go, or they just hang up. Most of the time, they don't give two shits and they just hang up. But when they do say okay, I go awesome. So essentially we work with real estate agents, actually not real estate agents, realtors across the US, and specifically in Philadelphia, and I'll put in their area, right? So I'll just plug in their area. And essentially we work with realtors across the US and specifically in Philadelphia right now, just to get them around 1 to 3 extra buyer and seller close deals per month on a no risk pay on results basis, which means you don't pay if you don't get results. Can I quickly explain how we do in about 20 seconds of your time? And when I do that, it's like, I feel like I'm probably coming around robotic, but I know how to, like, I say and I kind of slow down so I could sound like a human. But at the same time, I feel like it's just not working. And I've seen this other guy, he just builds rapport. He just talks to them like a normal human, like, hey, do you think it's a good time to buy right now in this market? Like, he doesn't even mention, give me 30 seconds or hang up or hang up now. He just starts asking questions and tries to build some rapport with them, I guess. Like, try to see, like, is it a good time to buy right now? What do you think about the market? Stuff. And then it's like, yeah, awesome. So essentially, we actually work with realtors to get them buyers this summer. And then he just goes around, like, he just puts in the offer and builds the rapport. So, like, what's your opinion on that? Should I just do the 30 seconds or hang up now or should I just actually ask them questions to get them to open up before I even start dropping an offer?
So I mean, the thing is, when you're saying, like, I'm gonna be honest, it's a cold call. I know Thomas Gonnet made that popular, but I mean, you're getting rid of your cover, like,
yeah,
you're somebody that you could have gotten interested. They're not even getting a chance to hear what you have to offer. So I mean, typically when you're going into a cold call, you just want to get a hold of the decision maker. And once you're just like, hey, do you have like, you just say like, hey, I'm David, and you don't want to go straight into the offer. You want to just be like, hey, do you have a quick like 10 to 15 minutes chat? Like, cool. And it's like, so actually, then you say like, actually, I work with realtors to help them get 3 seller closes a month. Is that something you'd be interested in? And if they say yes, it's like, okay. So, I do need a little bit more context and clarity on your business, kind of where you're at, what you're looking to get to, and what you're looking for. That'd be great. And, if I believe that I can help you actually get these 3 extra seller closes per month, I'll walk you through everything I do and answer any questions. Does that sound fair? And then you just intro them.
That's awesome. So I could just basically ask them if it's something that can help them out right now. Like, you just,
yeah.
So I take that first that you said and then get into what I actually have to offer. And then I just straight into the intro. So it's kind of like a cold call / discovery, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah. Mm-hmm. You just push them straight through.
So that would that count as, so how there's a 2-call close, the first intro and then the demo. So do I need to can I just do the intro there and then just straight to the demo when I book them in?
Yeah, you can do the intro there. Or, if they're like, I'm too busy, like I can't take this call, and it's like, okay, 3 quick questions. It's like, are you a realtor? Yes. Do you sell or do buyer and seller leads in this area? Yes. It's like, okay, what's the best time that I can book you in? Talk about getting X, Y, or Z. Or you can try and push and keep doing an intro and only book them. A lot of times people say they have to go because they want to get out of the conversation, not because they actually have to go.
Yeah, I've had that a lot.
I've had intros where they said they had to go 10 minutes in and they were on the phone for an hour.
Yeah, that's I've had that too. So yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. And just another quick question. So when I book them in, I've had a lot of people not show up. So would you recommend calling them up like a day before or a couple hours before to confirm that they are showing up? But I don't want to seem desperate. So it's like I have Calendly reminders to remind them, and I have 1 hour before, 10 minutes before, and I think like 4 or 5 hours before. But it's like I don't want to call because I feel like I've seemed kind of desperate. But what's your opinion on that? So like I follow up so they actually show up.
Okay. First of all, shit, I forgot the first thing I was gonna say. I'll go into Calendly. I would stop using Calendly. When you send text reminders from Calendly, it uses the same universal phone number from everybody who uses Calendly. So if they're talking to other real estate agencies who use Calendly, your text reminders are being sent along with every other single agency that they've signed up for a call with, which automatically destroys your authority in your frame.
Yeah. All right. I'll definitely change that then. Should
You
I
can use Go High Level calendars? It's really easy to set up.
Damn.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that the number was like tied to other. That was the same number.
It's the same universal number for all appointment reminders. I only figured that out when I booked like a call with 2 different places, and then I got both their reminders on the same phone number.
Yeah.
And the second point, it's not really out of a place of desperation. You're just like what is your? I typically do like 2-day reminder, 1-day reminder, 2 hour, and a
I
15-minute reminder.
I do a day. So a day before I do 5 hours. I think it's like 4 or 5 hours. I got check, but it's like 4 or 5 hours before, and then an hour before, and then 10 minutes before.
Yeah, but I would call them. Like if like call them and just be like, hey, are we still good for this time? Did something come up and we need to reschedule?
All right.
Like that wouldn't really hurt or make you come off as desperate. You know, desperate would be more so you're blowing his phone up, calling him 10 times, leaving him 8 voicemails because he no-showed the appointment. That would be a place
Yeah.
of desperation. But
Yeah.
reminders are.
And what if they say like, what? Because I've had this so many times, and it kind of fucks with me. They're like, "What's the price?" Like on the cold call, and they do say they're interested. Like they instantly want to know the price, and then I say then I tell them like the price. I can't give you an exact number since it really does depend on the agent's experience and location. But what I can do is schedule in a quick 15 to 30-minute Zoom call where I could get going more into depth about how our pricing structure works. And even when I say that, they still like keep pushing. So it's like I don't know how to handle that. It's like,
yeah. So do you set the frame?
Can you like give an example by setting the frame? Like I just tell them, yeah.
When I set the frame on a call, I say, hey, so how these calls typically work best is, if you're okay with it, is if you can tell me, you know, what you're looking for, where you're looking to go, blah blah blah, that, you know, and if I believe I can help you, I'll walk you through everything that we do and answer any questions. Does that sound fair? I set the agenda for the call. I am in the position of power in the call. I have set the framework for how the call is going to go.
Okay.
And essentially what he is trying to do is